Next video, this one can't go wrong, and I'm excited. So, Chillin' Scares, 5 most disturbing diving videos.
In September 2019, 40-year-old Stephen Weber Jr. and his girlfriend Kanisha Antoine went on a vacation to Pemba Island. Stephen had been dating Kanisha for a while by this point and had planned to propose to her during this trip. What neither of them knew, however, was that the happiest trip of their lives was about to turn into an irreversible tragedy. The groundwork for this tragedy was laid when the two arrived at the island and checked in to stay at the Manta Resort just off the coast. It had
The one place there?
a nice, uninterrupted view of the ocean, as well as a...
What? I mean, that's a cool proposal spot, not gonna lie. I don't know if I'd be into that. That's a little close to the water, you know what I mean? You gotta be real comfy.
Roof area to relax and enjoy the tropical weather. However, the most important feature of this resort was the underwater room, which offered a 360-degree view of the marine life surrounding the resort. This room served as the...
Oh, why though? What you gotta be giving them fishes a show for? Don't be disturbing nature in that way. This is why we don't know what's down there. They don't want to come up here and see that. See, they don't know what's going on. That's like a child walking in. I mean, don't even... You know what I mean? You can't even... The puzzle's too... No.
Which offered a 360-degree view of the marine life surrounding the resort. This room served as the whole idea behind how Stephen had planned to propose.
Wow, that's a sick-ass room, though. I mean, the fish are going to see what they're going to... This room's here. People are going to be here. It's fine. That's what I'd be worried about. That I'd be worried about the fish. Never mind.
He put on swimming goggles and dived down to one of the windows in this room, prompting Kanisha to begin recording. He then unrolled a paper note inside a Ziploc bag and pressed it against the window. It read, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you, but everything I love about you, I love more every day." He then flipped the note, and on the other side was a marriage proposal for Kanisha, reading, "Will you please be my wife?"
Oh.
Dude, did he get like eaten by a shark or some shit? What the fuck?
So cute.
This is cute. This is cute as fuck. How does this go bad?
What?
He also showed the wedding ring he'd brought for this occasion before swimming up to hear Kanisha's
Yo, what happens?
response. At this point, Kanisha stopped recording and rushed to the surface floor, eager to give her answer. But once she looked outside, instead of a smiling Stephen, she saw nothing. Stephen was nowhere to be seen. Kanisha climbed the roof, hoping he might have been up there.
That was the last time you ever saw him?
Unfortunately, there were no signs of Stephen anywhere. He had vanished somewhere between showing her the ring and swimming up to the surface. After understanding the full gravity of the situation, Kanisha called for help, with several locals rushing to her aid. Unfortunately, it took some time to find
What happened? What kind of rift did he fall into? What happened?
Stephen. He was floating in the water, and by that point, it was already too late. Some resort workers tried to revive him with CPR, however, it wasn't effective. Stephen had miscalculated how long he could hold his breath underwater and drowned before he could reach the surface. You can even see his hand shaking as he holds the ring.
In his eyes right there, I think is what hit me. I was like, oh, he looked like something's wrong.
His body desperately telling him he needs air now. But in an effort to get his point across and make the moment that much more special, he ignores this, and unfortunately pays the ultimate price.
Bro, how do you recover from some shit like that, bro? Damn.
Mini Joe is a YouTube channel that occasionally posted travel videos up until 3 years ago. Most of these were typical travel vlogs showcasing the hosts of different expeditions around the world. However, out of the roughly 30 videos they've uploaded, one stands out for just how disturbing it is. This video contains a collection of footage Joe and his friends captured while doing technical dives in the Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt, which is often considered the deadliest diving spot in the world. There are a few conflicting reports on the total number, but most people agree that somewhere between 130 and 200 divers have met their end while trying to reach its depths. That is an average of 8 lives lost per year, and unfortunately, the total is still going up. What's worse is that the remains of many...
I don't understand scuba diving as a hobby. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not like a Navy SEAL, do we need to be doing that? I mean, it's cool. I'm glad we can do it, but do we need to be doing that, especially in the most dangerous scuba zone?
Victims are never recovered, which is exactly what made Mini Joe's video so unsettling.
Bro has 4 oxygen tanks. What are we doing? Why? Just play a video game or something, you know?
Their dive started off like any other, but as they descended deeper, they came across the tanks, lines, and suits of those who came before and never made it back. Some of the remains were wedged into narrow crevices on the ocean floor, hinting at what might have gone wrong for them. Most were also taken over by the environment, suggesting they might have been down there for years. Above all, these encounters served as a constant reminder of the true danger of technical diving. Divers often have to carry multiple heavy tanks before they can even begin the descent. Then, once they're in the water...
Yeah, if you're handing me more than 1 tank, 1 tank, I'm gonna have questions, okay? 2 tanks, I'm not going. I don't care where you're going. I don't care if there's gold and ponies. I don't care. I'm not gonna go.
They have to constantly monitor their oxygen levels while also staying aware of their surroundings. Things only become more dangerous the deeper they dive, where even a moment's distraction can quickly turn fatal. However, all of this is true for any dive, regardless of the location. What makes the Dahab Blue Hole even more dangerous is the false sense of security it provides. Blue holes, for those who don't know, are like vertical caves in oceans that go a lot deeper than the surrounding ocean floor. And the one in Dahab, Egypt is an even more extreme version of that. One of the biggest contributors to its deadliness is its depth of about 426 feet, or around 130 meters, which isn't very apparent from the surface. It's also an almost vertical drop to the bottom. This catches many new divers off guard, causing them to miscalculate their gas levels and tragically become another name on the memorial near the diving site. One of the most well-known cases of this is 22-year-old Yuri Lipsky, a Russian diving instructor with plenty of experience under his belt.
Bro, doing this type of stuff in 2000? I could get that, you know? You got like Pong and like shitty games, so I mean, that just doesn't hit. Let's go dive. Let's go get 4 oxygen tanks and dive into the deepest, most dangerous fucking hole we can find. So I get it. I get it in that sense. It's all context.
However, he had no prior experience with the Dahab Blue Hole, resulting in it taking his life. The footage from his recovered diving camera showed him descending into the depths faster than expected, struggling to keep his gas levels in check, trying to quickly slow down his descent, causing the buoyancy device to burst, and eventually succumbing to nitrogen poisoning in just 4 minutes after starting his dive. However, the sheer depth is only one part of this blue hole's danger. As Mini Joe's video demonstrated, the other part of its lethality comes from the network of partially collapsed caves.
Yeah, what are you doing there? I mean, if a tank gets stuck, you're stuck.
Littered throughout the area. They promise incredible views and look like prime diving spots at first glance. But in all reality, they are deceptively difficult to navigate through. Narrow passages and jagged rocks are everywhere. A single mistake can leave a technical diver stuck in one of these caverns with no way out until their gas tanks inevitably run out.
Bro, I get the views are cool and it would look nice and all. Just use Google. Just Google it. You're gonna find a picture of whatever the fuck it is and enjoy that.
Terrain also makes recovery extremely difficult, and many families of the fallen often opt to just leave their loved ones down there so as not to endanger even more lives in recovery attempts, which explains why Joe came across so many diving suits in his video. In July 2016, a diver named Jacob Childs went on a group diving trip off the coast of southeast Queensland, Australia. The boat stopped roughly 35 miles or about 56 kilometers off the coast, and Jacob was the second to last person to dive. However, a minute after entering the water, the diving line slipped out of his hand. He thought he could swim back to the boat and start over, but as he got closer, he was shocked to realize the rope had been pulled in. And before he could think of what to do next, a strong current swept the ocean's surface.
Wait, what? The rope got pulled in, so you didn't do anything wrong.
He thought he could swim back to the boat and start over, but as he got closer, he was shocked to realize the rope had been pulled in. And before he could think of what to do next, a strong current swept the ocean's surface and separated him from the boat.
Oh, man.
To make matters worse, the captain of the boat also sped off to go fishing while everyone was...
What the fuck is this boat, bro? They're not even... What are they... They gotta get jail time for that.
...was diving. By the time the other divers got back to the boat and realized Jacob was missing, he was already completely out of their view, leaving him stranded in the middle of the ocean,
What the
35
fuck?
miles from the nearest piece of land. That said, the distance from land was the least of Jacob's worries at that moment.
Sharks.
For starters, the water around him was nearly 20 degrees Celsius, which is about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. This wasn't nearly cold enough to make him freeze up and pass out immediately, but it was cold enough to slowly sap away his body heat, making him more susceptible to hypothermia and exhaustion with every passing minute. It was
God, he looks like he's gonna die.
also late in the afternoon, and the sun was about to go down, meaning it was only going to get worse. After a while,
Dude, what would you? My brain, I feel like, would just start panicking and just turn off at some point. Like
a rescue plane flew above him twice, but it didn't see him.
Oh,
and this was while
God.
it was still bright, and the inflatable indicator was visible from quite a distance. He knew that once it got dark, his chances of being rescued would drop to almost zero.
Well, the sun's going down. If the sun goes down, they won't do nothing. That's a wrap on old.
Oh my God, bro, he's literally calling it.
I guess.
Wow.
Unfortunately, there was nothing Jacob could do at that moment but wait and continue recording what possibly could be his last message to his family.
Wow.
Identifying the right direction and then swimming for over 35 miles would have been next to impossible. If he had taken it upon himself to try and reach the coast, he would have likely exhausted himself and drowned partway through. He did try to follow a fishing boat he saw in the distance, but quickly realized that he wouldn't be able to get close enough to get its attention, leaving him feeling dejected.
Dude, and you need water. You can't just drink the ocean water. You're gonna lose it. You're gonna lose it. So he won't live long. Like, he's got like a day, 2 days. Well, I think 3 or 4 days he'll starve. Like, without water, I think it's 3 or 4 days.
It's way too far for me. It'd be like 15, 16 meters now.
Dude, this is upsetting.
Besides, swimming too far from his original location would have also reduced his chances of being saved, since rescue teams would no longer know where to look. As the sky got darker and the rescue plane failed to spot him multiple times, the frustration was beginning to set in.
There's a plane coming back.
Yo,
There's a
please
rescue
find
boat
him.
Way over there. Helpful. That.
The salty seawater was also making him extremely dehydrated, worsening his chances of survival by the minute. However,
Yep.
Jacob was experienced enough to know that panicking or getting angry wouldn't do any good. The right thing to do was to stay put while
I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead in this situation. 100% I'm dead.
exerting the least amount of effort. After drifting in the middle of nowhere for over 6 hours, he was finally spotted by a helicopter and brought to safety on a rescue
Oh
boat.
my
With
God.
the sun nearly below the horizon, he
Oh
came
my God.
dangerously close to losing his life that day. Fortunately, he was able to recover with no permanent injuries.
Bro, I bet 90% of people, if you put them in that situation, 99% of people are going to panic. And they won't last the 6 hours to get saved. In the middle of the ocean, like, come on, that's the craziest one I've seen. Wow.
On the 26th of May 2013, a group of 3 tugboats was trying to stabilize an oil tanker during a
Bro, somebody put a comment. I'm going to throw it in this video, whatever. Somebody put a comment in another video about the scariest video I've ever seen. I don't even know if it's like a ghost one, to be honest. Like, those ones are like creepy, but I wouldn't say like, but like that, like your last moments, and you have it's a slow death pretty much at that point. Like, that's #1 fear. And then that's like him in that situation. I don't know. That might be the top one right now. Like, for the last while, at least ones I've posted that I've seen, that's probably one of the craziest ones. Like, that, it's so real.
A group of 3 tugboats was trying to stabilize an oil tanker during a harsh storm nearly 20 miles or 32 kilometers off the coast of Nigeria. That's when one of the boats, named Jaskin 4, got hit by a massive rogue wave. This capsized the boat, causing it to sink rapidly and disappear below the water surface within seconds.
Well, I feel like I'm not about boats. You know, after all the shit that you see about, I'm just not a boat guy. You're not going to catch me in the water.
The company behind this operation, West African Ventures, immediately sent off a rescue mission. However, the harsh weather made any immediate rescue efforts near impossible. They eventually sent a helicopter to look for any survivors who managed to swim back to the surface. Unfortunately, even after a full day of searching, they didn't find a single member of the Jaskin 4's crew who was still alive. This left the company with no choice but to presume the crew deceased and begin a body recovery diving mission instead. The task of retrieving their remains was handed down to 6 saturation divers who were laying underwater oil pipes nearby. The only reason they were chosen for the task was because they were the closest to the site of the incident. Still, it took them around a day to reach the site and begin looking for Jaskin 4. The harsh waves had shifted its position significantly from where it capsized, causing even more time lost before the retrieval mission could begin. Unfortunately, that was far from the only hurdle the rescue divers would face on this mission. Once they located the Jaskin 4 and dove down to it, they discovered that the boat had turned upside down. It was now resting on its primary mast, which could collapse at any time. Due to significant pirate activity in that area, all of the Jaskin 4's entrances were also locked shut, forcing the divers to use specialized underwater torches just to gain access. Sadly, their assumption turned out to be correct. By the afternoon of the 28th of May, 2 days after Jaskin 4 had sunk, the rescue team managed to recover the remains of 4 crew members, though 2 were still missing. But just as all hope seemed lost, one of the divers, named Tony Walker, made an incredible discovery. For some context, Tony was being instructed on what to do by his supervisor Colby Veritz from the surface. Tony was also inhaling a gas mixture which was partially helium, making his voice higher. While looking around the upside-down boat, he came across what looked like a human hand. He assumed it belonged to yet another fallen crew member, but to his surprise, the hand moved.
Oh my god, that would freak me the fuck out. That would freak. I don't care how experienced these guys are at diving. If a fucking hand, we're on a rescue mission to find dead bodies, and your hand is like, no, I don't know, buddy. I'm sorry. I couldn't. I'm cut out for certain things, and these, nah, bro. Anything water, nah.
Moved and grabbed him back.
All right, so you should be walking on the ceiling, yeah? Okay. What's that? Okay. All right, you found one, yeah? He's alive. Okay, keep him there. All right.
Oh my god, they were both surprised, bro. It's shocked. Oh my god, that would. I don't know how you stay so composed, man.
Just all right. Just hold him there, okay? Just keep him there. I don't know.
Wow.
All right.
Bro, and it took them over a day to get there and start looking.
Just keep him there and keep him calm, okay? All right, just reassure him, pat him on the shoulder.
Is he? Oh my god.
Okay.
This was 29-year-old Harrison O'Kenny, Jaskin 4's resident cook. After over 60 hours underwater, Harrison was somehow still alive. He also seemed quite aware of everything that was going on around him and remained calm to help the rescuers do their job. Apparently, Harrison was in the bathroom when the boat capsized. He tried to rush to the emergency latch, but water rushed in and trapped the crew inside. To his knowledge, Harrison was the only one who managed to survive after creating a makeshift indoor raft from plywood, cardboard, and a mattress. After finding him, rescuers gave—
Wow, that's just like the last one, but even way worse, bro. About 10 times worse. Did you see his face when they came in?
Okay.
Bro, he couldn't believe it, bro. He 100% thought he was dead. That's crazy. Wow. Just something about like human resilience, man, and like your instinct to survive. It's just crazy.
Underwater oil pipes, the divers were uniquely equipped to deal with these exact issues. On the other hand, they couldn't just strap him into a rope and pull him back to the surface. He had already spent over 2.5 days in an extremely high-pressure environment. Taking him to the surface too quickly could have caused decompression sickness, which in extreme cases can also be lethal. Fortunately, due to their job of installing underwater oil pipes, the divers were uniquely equipped to deal with these exact issues. More specifically, they had a pressurized diving bell attached to the vessel, which they put Harrison in after consulting a doctor. Had this been a standard diving crew with regular scuba gear, they wouldn't have had anything to keep Harrison alive. Once back on the surface, he also had to spend some more time in a decompression chamber to avoid decompression sickness, and was fairly okay after that. However, while he recovered physically, the mental trauma of being trapped in an upside-down boat on the ocean floor for over 2 days with no idea if anyone was coming to save him left him with PTSD, something he is still recovering from to this day.
Yeah, no shit, bro. I mean, that's gonna be like nothing will ever top that, you know, in terms of trauma. Like that's insane. That's so crazy. And like just the universe, you know, just like the odds that they happen to call this team that happens to be closest to where it just happened to capsize, you know, and they happen to have the equipment to save him. Otherwise he would have got sick and died. Wow. Life's crazy.
On December 13, 2013, YouTuber Kodiak Thunder uploaded a video showing a near-death experience he had while diving. Unlike many other divers, Kodiak's motive wasn't to just dive as deep as he could or reach some underwater landmark. Instead, his diving sessions were more about catching fish and crustaceans by hand or with a spear gun. But
that's actually kind of sick. He's got a reason.
While chasing a lobster, he swam too far into an underwater cave. He managed to catch the lobster he was after, but when he turned around, he had no idea how to get out.
Oh, fuck. Oh my god, dude. And then now everything looks the same. Help me, crab. No way he's still trying to grab the crabs. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Find your way.
Fortunately, after swimming around in the cave for a few minutes, he was able to find the exit and swim out without any trouble.
Holy shit.
This was incredibly lucky. The thing is, diving on its own is incredibly dangerous. A single distraction can quickly spiral into an irreversible tragedy. But unless they're very deep, divers at least have the option to just swim up to the surface and wait for rescue.
Wow.
Though, not with cave diving. One of the primary hazards in a cave is the environment itself. Unlike the open ocean, many underwater caves have floors covered in extremely fine silt. A poorly controlled fin kick, or even the exhaust bubbles from a regulator hitting the ceiling can dislodge this sediment. This creates a silt out, a condition where the water's visibility drops to absolute zero instantly. Divers' high-powered lights become useless, and in some extreme cases, the diver can't even see their own hands, let alone their surroundings. This also makes them unable to see their gauges or the guidelines. In short, they no longer know where they're going, where they're supposed to go, or whether they're getting—
why is this a hobby? Why do people do this? Like, at all? To any degree?
the right gas mixture. At best, they can keep swimming and hope the cave is straight enough to eventually lead them away from the murky water. But if they can't monitor their gases, nitrogen poisoning can become a serious problem. It impairs both their cognitive and motor function, leaving them to take their final breaths in the cave unless someone is there to rescue them. Even then, rescue isn't always an option. Many underwater caves are extremely narrow, and with tanks and other essential gear, navigating these tight spaces becomes even harder. In most cases, there isn't even enough room to turn around, so if one diver passes out, the others can get trapped behind them and lose their lives there as well. One of the most well-known cases of this exact scenario happened on February 6, 2014, when a team of 5 Finnish cavers visited Norway to go cave diving through Plura Cave. All 5 of them were veteran cave divers and knew exactly what they were doing. They even had mapped out the exact route they planned to follow. However, as they were crossing the narrowest section of the cave, the cylinder of one of the divers got stuck, preventing him from moving forward and blocking the others.
Bro, I literally said that earlier. If your tank were to get stuck, you'd be fucked.
Behind him. The chaos of the situation resulted in 2 of the divers panicking, failing to monitor their gauges, and passing away within minutes. The other 3 barely made it out alive as well. One had to squeeze past the stuck diver by removing his gear and swimming the rest of the way, gasping for air from tiny pockets along the ceiling. The remaining 2 had to turn back and exit through the original entrance with almost no air left in their tanks. The fact that any of them made it out alive was nothing short of a miracle, highlighting the true horror of underwater cave diving. Because when things go even slightly wrong during a cave dive, even the most experienced and well-prepared divers—
Bro, because it's actual death. Like, it's actual death that you're like when that guy got his thing stuck, he just was like, yes, I'm dead. Like, I'm an expert at this. I know that when this happens, I'm dead. So I think if you panic, you die. So, wow. That was like way more than I expected. That was like a lot. Anyway, that was a really good video. I knew it was going to be good. Chilling Scares is always good.